Hello, beautiful family. Welcome into this second gate reading of our Babylonian series leading up to the 8-8 portal. The second gate is called the Gate of Harvest, and it has already opened. And we're also going to question, where is the divine masculine frequency at? Well, I can already tell you that the divine masculine frequency right now is in the corner of the cosmos, and I'll kind of show you why I say that as we get further along into the myth that we're going to be looking into. But the divine masculine frequency is going through a lot of sacred alchemy, so temperance, lots of shifts, metamorphosis, going from toxic masculinity to an emotional masculinity to a divine masculinity. I do believe right now that the divine masculine frequency is an emotional masculinity stage. And the reason why we're questioning this is because, after I did the Goddess and Ishtar reading, I went to Russell and I said, there's all these goddesses, there's all these divine feminine frequencies that are coming forward, that are rising. Where's the divine masculine frequency in all of this? And so, here we go. This is the reading that I guess I was guided to do. But I do have a trigger warning on this reading. We are going to be talking about sexual assault in the myth. So just wanted to put that forewarning out there in advance. So the goddess that I've been working with in this reading that's going to be coming through is Goddess Ninlio. And her cohort is Enlil. So I did speak a lot with the goddess, and I really want to do her justice because in a lot of mythology, well, number one, we definitely have to keep an open mind when reading any mythology. We have to keep an open mind when working and reading any god or goddess or deity on the internet. Not everything that you read about a goddess or deity, a god on the internet is accurately portrayed. A lot of it is misinterpreted, or it's up for interpretation by the receiver of the messages. So it's always very important to ask your questions directly to the god or the goddess or the deity that you are working with or wanting to work with. So I have been working with her, and the mythology, and also mythology it's written by men most of the time. So there's lots of patriarchy, there's lots of undermining, and there's lots of demeaning language in mythology, especially when you can tell when it's written by man, especially when they're talking about a goddess. So I really want to do her justice in this reading. So I want to tell her untold story, so to speak. Okay, so the second Babylonian gate is situated on the northwest side of the inner city, directly north of the Babylonian Lugatera quarter built in 575 BC. God Enlil, is associated with this gate, and he is known as ruler of the skies and the earth and king of air, king of the lands, and father of the gods. He was a very young, conceited, and had a bad temper. Enlil in the tarot is represented by the Page of Air, Swords energy, and although goddess Ninlil, the myth portray her as the Lady of Air to honor Enlil, but that's not correct, she told me. She stands on her own as the Queen of Earth and Empress energy. She is known as the... Excuse me, my throat chakra just open and closed. She stands on her own as the Queen of Swords, Queen of Earth, and Empress energy. She is known as the goddess of grain, harvest, and fertility. Ninlil is also known as an August Queen. I'm not exactly sure what August Queen means, but I think it means something about harvest, because this does transition. You're going from August into September into October, which are the harvest months. And I also found it interesting that we are doing the gate readings, and they're all linked to the 8-8 portal, and August is the 8th month, and she's the August Queen. So what I also found interesting that so Enlil and Ninlil, when they ruled, they were in Nippur, which is today it's known as southeastern Iraq, and their temple in Nippur is called Ikur, also House of the Mountain. So I got a lot of mountain imagery when I was kind of working with her. There are also a lot of like really cool myths that I came into. I'm not going to touch on them right now, but I will write them in the description box. If you're interested or keen on reading them, I will kind of type them out in the description. But the most famous myth involving Enlil is with goddess Ninlio. A lot of the myths stress the point that Ninlil is the feminine counterpart, soul partner of Enlil. As the wife of Enlil, she was known in Nippur since the Old Sumerian period. Many offerings were brought to her, particularly during the time of the 3rd dynasty of Ur. And when I spoke to Ninlil, I asked her if she was the counterpart to Enlil, and it was interesting because she said unlikely. The card unlikely kept coming out, and I asked her to clarify, and no cards would come out. So she wouldn't clarify to me if they were soul counterparts. So the myth starts when young Enlil sets his mind to make Ninlil his. And, you know, reports, like different myths say different things. Like some say he forced himself onto her and then she gives in. Other myths report that he raped her. And so I did ask Ninlil if he raped her, and she said yes. Ninlil found out later that she carries the seed of the young god, and she became enraged and hurt beyond measure by the violence that she had been subjected to. Ninlil does not hesitate and takes Enlil to trial in front of the Anunnaki gods. This was rare. A young goddess demands the punishment of her rapist, who was himself one of the great gods. There's not that many examples of early feminine assertiveness in world of myth and religion. Like you don't really hear that in myth or religion or anything like that. So I found this very rare and really interesting that she stood up. She stood up. She said that was wrong, and she demanded punishment. So he did get punishment. He was condemned to the underworld, and one article says that, but as all women of heart, mind, and body soul would do and have done since time, she sets out immediately to descend and attempt to rescue her stubborn lover back to the heights above. I asked Ninlio, did she go back to the underworld? She said yes. I asked her, did you go back to rescue him? She said no. So that's where, you know, mythology, you can see, okay? They got that wrong. I asked her then why she descended into the underworld, and she said that she wanted to take back her power. Like she wanted to face him in the underworld. She wanted to see him there. She also felt his sadness. I just saw the 5 of Cups. She felt that he was sad. She felt that he was lonely. She went back to the underworld to look at him in the eyes, to see him there. She wanted to show him her powers. She also kind of showed me that she descends from the underworld and she comes back up in the upper world like with ease. There's something about that she's showing me right now. But she traveled to the underworld. She wanted to stand before him as like as a goddess rather than a young maiden. She also said that her power was forgiveness. So she did forgive Enlil, and she forgave him in the underworld, and that's why she descended. But she didn't necessarily forgive him for him. She forgave him because forgiveness is about the self. Forgiveness comes from a place of love. And because she worked on herself, because she was healing, because she found her self-worth, she was able to then forgive her perpetrator. I found it really interesting that one myth said that Ninlil did not want him to be punished, and that's why she went back into the underworld to rescue him. And I asked her about this, and she said, if I didn't want him to be punished, why would I go to the Anunnaki Council? She said he deserved to be punished for the injustice. And she went down to the underworld to forgive him after she had healed and worked on her love and her self-love and self-worth. After she came into her goddess power, she went in there and she said, okay, I forgive you. Now, continuing in myth, by the designs of the underworld, Enlil meets Ninlil 3 times in disguise. He asked for her love without telling her in reality who he was. In other words, he who had not approached her as a tender lover had to beg for her affection, and she, as his hardest judge, had to learn to see the healed man beyond the conceited young god who could not reveal himself as such, and along the process reassert herself as a true goddess in lessons of self-worth. The myth continues to say 3 times they meet in the underworld, 3 times they mate. And 3 times she receives within herself to transform the lessons Enlil had to learn to grow as a full man and responsible god. This means she receives in her womb 3 more seeds of Enlil and receives them into herself to heal. In the end, both come back to the heights above. The goddess and god to form one of the most loving couples in Mesopotamian myth and religion. The myths say that they had 3 children in the underworld, but I actually found that there are alternative myths that believe that these gods that Enlil and Ninlil had actually came from other unions, Erishkigal and Huglana, queen of the underworld. So I actually asked her if they made it 3 times. She said no. And it's interesting that this myth says that the 3 seeds that she received from Enlil, when she receives them into herself to heal, she receives the seeds of Enlil to heal. And when I read that, she's like, I didn't need his seeds to heal. So this myth is saying that you need a man's seed in your womb to heal. She's saying that's not an accurate statement. She's like, I didn't need his seed to heal me. She said, I'm the goddess of grain. I have the seeds within me. You have the seeds within you. Everyone has an acorn, seeds. She's the goddess of grain. She didn't need his seeds to heal her. So that was another misrepresentation in the myths that are out there. So again, like, she wants to stress that she went into the underworld because she wanted to show her power that she acquired for herself. She wanted to show the power of love because she was, like, people of Nippur, their eyes were on her. So they ascended from the underworld together, but they weren't together. It's such a weird story. Like, a lot of myths say that they ascended from the underworld together and all of this, and it was like love and romance, but that's not the case. That's not the case at all. She knew that her power of forgiveness would bring him up to the heights above. She knew that her power of love would bring him up. And that's what she wanted to show everybody in the city of Nippur, that she had the power to do that. And that she was loving, and that she had the seeds of transformational energies and the seeds of change within her, and that she was the goddess of grain, that she was the goddess of fertility, that she was their goddess. And she was loved. She was loved by many. So anyways, she forgave him. This was the power that she possessed. We already talked about that. It's interesting because, like, it's almost like she wanted to show him, like, I can change. It's almost like she wanted to lead by example. She wanted to lead by influence. Anyways, the original tablets of the myth seem to center on Enlil, but it is Ninlil who is a catalyst of action. So a lot of myth is like centered around Enlil when it's not the case. It's actually Ninlio. It's a goddess. A lot of the myths say that she had to grow to become a soul counterpart of Enlil, to meet him on all levels. And so when I asked her again, if you guys were counterparts, she wouldn't answer me. And she said, she kind of like posed to me, she said, even if we were, she said, I would have a choice. She's like, even if no one gave me a choice, I know deep down I have a choice. She's like, even if we were, I would have a choice. Her whole lesson was to come into her powers as a goddess and serve her people of Nippur. And she did. And she grew to be loved by many, as we mentioned earlier. She's very proud of herself for this. And then we get into, I found another myth that says Ninlil had to face the failure of all her dreams of romance to understand the humanity of the greatest of the young god, and as such, grow to become the beloved and soul counterpart of Enlil in all levels and spheres. A lot of myths portray her to fail at romance. To fail, that her only dream was to be his soul counterpart and to have this big romance. And she said to me that this is what has been deemed over time, over centuries, into young girls. That their only goal in life is to bear children. The seeds of another man will heal you. You will bear children and you live a life of great romance. She's one of the earliest examples of having to face this in society and stand up for herself and say no. Enlil, on the other hand, had to swallow his pride and beg for Ninlil's affection, a test of great humility for the proudest of all Mesopotamian gods. When Ninlil forgave him, they ascended from the underworld, and he tried to learn how to court her properly. Some myths say that they married and all of this stuff. I did ask. I didn't get a clear answer if they did marry or not, but she did want to say that love was at the center of everything. She just kind of kept repeating that. Love was at the center of everything. Now, when they rose from the underworld, crops were rejuvenated. There was pollination from the winds. Ascent from the underworld represented the cycles and rejuvenation of the crops, much like the cycles and rejuvenation that took place within Enlil and Ninlil. Agriculture was really the starting. It started in Mesopotamia and was overseen by Enlil, which dates back like 10,000 years ago. He grew in power, but as his power grew, so did his temper. So he didn't really learn his lesson. So he was banished. He was replaced by Marduk, which is, I believe, the third or the fourth gate. Marduk? Or no, he's the last gate, I believe. And the Anunnaki banished Enlil to the corner of the cosmos. So that's why I mentioned the divine masculine energy is like in the corner of the cosmos right now. I do feel him to be really remorseful, emotional. I do feel like his divine masculine energy frequency is softening, and it's actually Russell, when I was talking to him, he was like, it was as if the divine masculine energy is being soothed by the divine feminine energy that it's integrating, and I do believe it's all influenced by Ninlio. So that was the myth. Wow, I talked like 20 minutes about that. So I'm going to talk about the frequency of the gate now that she's opened. So she showed me an image of someone turning the Wheel of Fortune, because she showed me that I did a reading before her just to get to know her and get to know her energy and what messages she wants to come through and just connect with her. And she showed me the Wheel of Fortune and someone turning the wheel of the Wheel of Fortune. And as someone was turning the Wheel of Fortune, the gate opened, and then I saw a chariot pass through the gate. I did see light, and it was as if this light was washing over many, many people that I saw. Excuse me, my throat chakra keeps opening and closing. Oh. And so I feel like this gateway will wash over your experiences, will wash over your experiences. The meaning of this gate, okay, so there's taking control over situations that seem unfair, teaching us about the power of forgiveness, that everything comes from love, everything is love, you are love, and forgiveness is a very powerful energy, that we are the catalyst of change and growth. She's also saying that this is a gate of harvest, a gate of internal power. And she said that this was really interesting. She said gate of sustainability and innovation. This gate is going to bring forth a lot of innovative ways of sustainable energy. So a lot of like agriculture and industrial energy coming through of that they're going to find more innovative ways of sustainable energy, or at least that's the guidance. And the gate of creating harvest from pain, or harvesting, it's like transmuting pain into power. So it's almost like you're harvesting the pain, you're squeezing out the pain. I just see her doing this to a towel, squeezing the towel. It's like I'm seeing water drip, and out of this you're getting this like new energy that will water the soil to create harvest from the pain. She said to me, create the power. We are the catalyst of change. We need to put an end to our own suffering and choose to rise above it, as she did. Tapping into the divine frequencies that you carry within yourself. The past energies are being accepted by the now self, therefore are being shifted as we let them go. The divine masculine frequency is going through a reflection period at the corner of the cosmos. Or you could say it's like sitting at the corner of yourself right now while your divine feminine frequency is being rebirthed, is rising. Your divine masculine frequency is kind of in the corner right now with doing a lot of reflection, as the divine feminine frequency is stepping into power. She said to me, there's a lot of work to do. The divine feminine energy is leading by example. The divine masculine energy needs to learn how to reemerge. She said to me, there will be a time where the collective will experience the divine masculine rebirth, but the time for that is not right now. Right now is the rebirth and the rise of the divine feminine. I asked her what her hopes and visions for us are as we allow this gate to wash over our experiences, and she answered, her visions for us is to enjoy and celebrate our independence, celebrate our stories and our journeys. Her vision for us is freedom from pain and freedom from our past, and to discover our magic. She wants us to open ourselves to the magic and create with the gates magic that will wash over us, to release our worries and limiting fears, free yourself from attachments, and to shift into newer versions of self using the harvest energies of the gate. So that was that. Let me get into any other messages that she wants to say. Goddess Ninlio. I just got really warm. I mean, these candles right now are not really helping. There's a lot of heat coming from these candles. Woo. I'm gonna put that one over there. Oh my God. All right, Goddess Ninlio, thank you for being here. Thank you for sharing your untold story. Thank you for trusting me with this information. What other messages and guidance do you have for us, please, Goddess Ninlio? I literally just heard it's time to shift. It's time to shift. It's time to rise above our pain. She keeps showing me that towel, squeezing the towel. Creating harvest from pain. Oh, one more shuffle, sorry. Okay, Goddess Ninlil, what messages do you have? What other messages do you have for us, please? Okay. Wow, that's really interesting. You have here the King of Earth and the masculine and feminine. See? As we're talking about, where is the divine masculine frequency? You've here the masculine and the feminine card that was underneath the King of Earth. It's really interesting because, you know, she's the goddess of grain. She's a goddess of grain, but she's actually coming through as the King of Earth. She had to shift It's almost like she had to be the masculine influence. Like she had to be the King of Earth, even though she's the goddess of grain, she's the goddess of the earth to the city of Nippur, to her people. But because Enlil got banished and he was the power really started to overtake him, she wanted to really stand her ground, and so she found the masculine energy within herself and she stepped forward into the King of Earth frequency here. It's interesting because just before I pulled these cards, what did she say to me? She said, it's time to shift. It's time to shift. There will be a time. No, she's correcting me. She's saying it's time to shift. It's interesting because it's almost like the divine feminine, this is what she's saying. She's saying the divine feminine frequency is shifting to not be so soft. It's interesting that she's saying that. That's what she's saying. She's saying the feminine frequency is shifting into a more, I don't want to say like tougher, but you know what I'm saying? It's still a feminine frequency. It's still a goddess frequency. It's like Goddess Lilith, Goddess Kali Ma, Goddess Inanna Ishtar, Goddess Ninlio. But she's saying that the feminine frequency is shifting. It's rising into power. And the way that it needs to rise into power, it needs to let go a little bit of those softer energies. It's like a little bit more of oomph in it, you know. I don't know how to explain it, so I'm just going to say it's like more oomph, you know. Okay, Goddess Ninlil, what do you want to say? You have your emotions, and you have here the Six of Cups, Six of Water. So what did she channel to me earlier? Past energies are being accepted by the now self, therefore are being shifted as we let them go. There's that word again. Wow, she's talking about a lot of shifts. So she's talking about the feminine frequency shifting, okay, shifting out of the softer energies and having more oomph in there. And she's also saying that with the Six of Cups and the emotions card, that a lot of your past energies are being accepted. There's something here that the spirit is kind of like gifting you. It's almost like you're kind of taking this energy to accept. There's some sort of acceptance here. What does she say? I keep forgetting. Past energies are being accepted by the now self, therefore are being shifted as we let them go. But what is the past energies are shifted? The past energies are being let go. And they're shifting our emotions. It's almost like we're releasing emotions from the past. Okay, that's one message. We're releasing emotions of the past. But there's also something here that you are receiving. But as you kind of take this, I don't know what this is, this energy from spirit, there's an acceptance, something that you're accepting, right? You're taking, but when you take, you accept it. She's telling me that you're accepting the past for what it is what she's saying here. It's what she channeled. Oh, wow. You have here the counselor and the maiden at the bottom of that. And she was referenced in myth as the maiden. I don't know if I talked about that, but that's how she was. Here's the counselor. These are the Anunnaki energies coming through, but I'm going to shuffle. Goddess Ninlio, what other messages do you have for us, please, as this gate opens? Look at the child. Look at the child, symbolizing new beginnings. But she's the mother. She's the mother. She's the mother. Remember how I said there's going to be light? Light. Look at the light on the child. This gate is bringing forward this. She's already opened the gate, but when I saw the gate being opened, light came forward and is washing over your experiences. Some of you, this is old experiences when you were a child, your past self, maybe lifetimes. For others of you, it could be past lifetimes. For some of you, this is like you're in your current lifetime healing your inner child, healing something from your childhood. Okay. You do have here the Five of Pentacles. Look at the Five of Pentacles. It's like this double frequency, showing cards in one hand, showing another energy in the other hand. It's interesting. She's kind of bringing forward the underworld energy here, because I'm kind of getting the energy that this was her in the underworld when Enlil disguised himself. She was showing him. Hold on a second. Yeah, she's bringing forward that myth again. When she went into the underworld, Enlil disguised himself. She showed up in her full power to face him, but he disguised himself. She's saying to us that she's saying to be careful of those. Be careful of those that disguise themselves to you. Be careful of those that disguise themselves to you. Use your intuition, she's saying. Use your intuition against forces or people that disguise themselves to you. You're here showing your true nature. They're here showing. They're not showing all their cards. They're showing you what you want to see, or showing you what they appear to be, not showing you exactly who they are. So use your intuition. Okay, so she's saying be careful of people like that. I just heard don't be fooled. Don't be fooled. In this harvest energy, she's saying this is going to be the gate of internal power. There are going to be, your intuition is going to be heightened during this time, okay? It's interesting because I see that a new path is being weaved. Do you see here with the spider? It's weaving this path. And it's interesting because you're sitting on a ledge. You're sitting on a ledge. When you look over that ledge, there is nothing there. And then all of a sudden, it's almost like there's this magical frequency. Remember how she said, tap into your magic. Use the gate's magic. Use the gate's frequencies. It's like you create a new path. You're creating a path that wasn't there before. You're seeing something that wasn't there before. You're creating something out of nothing. Like, that's magic. There's some kind of essence here that you're creating out of thin air. You're manifesting out of thin air. But she's definitely saying here that there's creating new paths that seem impossible. And this was kind of the energy that we talked about in the previous reading when Rumi said the impossible made possible. And the impossible made possible here, she's saying, is within your intuition. Your intuition is leading you on paths that seem impossible. Paths are going to be made possible. I'm not going to take this child. If it needs to come through, it will. But it's definitely here representing new beginnings. Interesting. You do have your healing at the bottom. You have here the youth. The youth. It's sitting right underneath the past, the Six of Cups. I just love how the youth card here, this individual is holding the staff, the connection of earth and the heavens, earth and the sky. With the wolf, using your instincts. It's right beside here, using your intuition. There is this interesting energy coming through of like, I'm getting this like spurt of energy. She's kind of showing to me like this gate is filled with like harvest. It's filled with internal power, intuition, magic. It feels like you are being ignited with this newfound youthful energy. Youthful energy is what I'm getting here. You have here the King of Cups, King of Water. It's really interesting because I feel these two king frequencies. I feel feminine energy. I feel feminine energy that shifted into this more like oomph energy. I don't know what to describe it as, but the feminine energy shifted. Divine feminine energy shifted. It's because it's like leading by example to show the divine masculine frequency, right? Yeah, as the divine feminine frequency is stepping into power. Oh, beautiful. Look at the Ace of Pentacles. This is the Ace of Earth. I'm telling you, she's the goddess of grain. Look at the Three of Pentacles. Look at the seeds. Look at the seeds. I'm seeing something. Oh, you also have here the Ace of Fire. I'm seeing something. Hold on. I don't know what card I'm seeing. Bear with me. She's showing me something. Oh. She's also telling me that the king energy here, the king of water, king of earth, especially this king of water, she's saying, excuse me, not the king of earth, the king of water. The king of earth is the shifted feminine frequency that's shifting into this more like oomph energy. The king of water is the masculine frequency that I talked about earlier, that we talked about earlier, where I said that the divine masculine frequency is an emotional masculinity stage. At the corner of the cosmos. As a corner of the cosmos. Look at the cosmos behind the youth. Anyway, that's that confirmation too. But she showed me this card, the Seven of Pentacles. And she showed it to me with the Three of Pentacles. She wanted to show me these two cards together. You know the seeds of the acorn? The acorn holds DNA within it. When you plant the seed of the acorn, it becomes a tree. Look at the tree that's growing on top of your crown chakra. So it's almost like you're sitting on the soil. It's like this is you. You're planting the acorns into the earth. You cover the acorn, and then you sit. You sit directly above where you planted the acorns. This is very symbolic that you have seeds, acorns within you right now. And they are encoded with transformational energies. We talked about this in one of the mandala readings where we got out of the acorn, look what emerges out of the acorn. It's a newer version of yourself. It's a new iteration of self. I just got the image of a mother hen sitting over top of eggs, to like warm them, to nurture them, as they go through their process before hatching. That's like the kind of energy that I'm getting here. It's like you're sitting directly above the acorns, the seeds that are planted, and she's the mother of grain, or the goddess of grain, Her seeds are seeds of change. Her seeds, the seeds that she carries within herself, are transformational seeds. So she's saying that these are transformational seeds that you have planted within yourself. And they're growing. This newer version of yourself is growing. She's saying, allow the light. This Ace of Fire frequency I'm seeing is the light. Allow the light to wash over your experience. Allow the light to wash over your experience. And then you have here the Ten of Wands, the Ten of Fire. Look at the alignment. Look at the alignment. You're ignited with truth. You're ignited with light. I just heard bountiful. Something is bounty. Something is bountiful. A lot of. See, this is a process. Look at this. That's the stages of change within self. Look at that. This is the way that I'm seeing it. It's the way she's kind of positioning it to me. These are the seeds of change. So this gate, she's saying, allow this gate to wash the light of it to wash over your experience, for the seeds of change to manifest in your life. And here you have the Ace of Earth, where something new is forming. You do have here the Sun Shawl. I'm feeling with the Sun Shawl energy like this overseer energy, overseeing the change. This is her. This is her. It's almost like she's overseeing, she's watching this entire, she's like facilitating, coordinating, ensuring that everything aligns. She's overseeing the gate. She's the gatekeeper, okay? The sun shawl. That's her right here. What else do you want to say? You have here body and mind. Yeah, the maiden. It's her energy. You do have here the Queen of Air. It was on top of the Eight of Wands. This is all about transformation and shift. This is what I'm saying. I'm reading this Queen of Air. Not as her energy. It's the masculine's energy. This is Enlil's energy. Because he's the king of air, but he's coming across as the queen of air. Remember, it's not female or male gender specific. He's coming across as the queen of air because he's learning how to be softer. The masculine frequency right now is learning how to be softer. That's what this transformation is about for the divine masculine frequency. Learning how to become softer. That's the shift for the divine masculine frequency. Okay, that's the shift, that's the divine masculine frequency that is happening within all of us. Again, not female or male gender specific. Okay? That's really interesting. She needs one more. Hold on a second. That's crazy. That's crazy. You have here a union. See, this is a union of the divine feminine and masculine energy of the self. Union of divine feminine and masculine frequencies within self. But she's saying this is not going to happen right now. This is not going to happen right now. But she's saying this is what we are going to be experiencing at a later time. At a later time. And it's interesting that union card came out, and what we were just talking about of Enlil. He's in the corner of the cosmos. His masculine energy is becoming softer, and he's learning how to balance. Look, you have the king and the queen of air. He's learning how to balance his masculine and feminine energies. Again, what did she say to me? She said, we're going to be experiencing the rebirth of the divine masculine frequency, but it's not right now. When we experience the divine masculine frequency rebirth, that's when a lot of us are going to experience the union of the self, of the masculine and feminine energies. But she's saying what did she say to me earlier? She said there's a lot of work to do. Look at all the work that we need to do before we get there. It's interesting because right now she's saying there's a lot of things she's saying there's a lot of things that happened. There's a lot of things that were a drawback. There's a lot of things that drew you back. A lot of things that drew you back. She keeps repeating that. It has something to do with the Six of Cups and the youth energy. Like it stems from the past. It stems from the way that we were conditioned, the way that we were raised. There's a lot of things that we need to look back at our youth. And we need to look at how we're raising our youth today. How are we raising boys? How are we raising girls? Are we telling girls, you are going to get older, you're going to raise children, you're going to meet the love of your life, it's all about romance and bearing kids? Are we telling girls that? Or are we rewriting the story for them to say that you can be tough? That you can stand up for yourself, that you don't need a male seed for you to heal, you know? Like, what are we telling our girls? Are we telling our girls to be independent? And then she's also saying, what are you telling the boys? What are you telling your boys? What are you telling the youth? What are you telling the youth? What are you telling the boys? Are you still telling the boys that they can't be emotional, that they can't have emotions? King of Cups, look at this. Emotions. Boys grew up thinking that being emotional was weak. That's when toxic masculinity started. It started with the youth. It started when you were young. So it's almost like it's our job to be careful of what we are telling the youth, she's saying. Because this is gonna come from generations. They're going to be, you have to watch out for that. That's your next of kin. That's your next generation. That's your lineage. You heal for them, right? So that they don't need to experience this. That they're gonna step into, a different frequency. She's almost like showing me her journey here with the maiden. Because she was referred to in the mythology as the maiden. That's what she was referred to as. And here she is stepping forward as the Ten of Pentacles. And look at this, is funny. She's funny. Remember how she went into the underworld and she was herself. And Neil was in the underworld and he disguised himself. Look at her here. She took off her mask. She took off her mask. She's holding a dragon in her hands. What are you saying here? There's a lot of energy about like journey of youth, the journey of the maiden. And the journey of boy who becomes king, journey of the maiden to goddess, and then the union of the two within the self. I don't know what I just said. I feel like this is what a lot of us are experiencing right now. Oh, that's what it is. Sorry. Yeah. So she's saying that this is the rise of the divine feminine. Okay? Before it was like this, galloping, maiden energy, like, you know, frolicking in the woods, like just being real cute, just very soft energy, you know, the maiden. But you grow into this independent, strong, more like forthcoming with your power, more forthcoming with yourself, unmasking yourself. Like, this is the true divine feminine power that's stepping forward. That's the true feminine power that's stepping forward. Still carrying the soft energy, but the soft energy is shifted. It's still soft, but it has more like oomph to it. You know what I mean? It's hard. I don't know how to explain that, but you know what I mean. This body and mind energy is, I see this as your higher self. So this is like your higher self right here. And I see that it's, there's a lot of like energy transference from the higher self into your now self. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Because the past energies are being accepted by the now self. There's something, again, she's taking me back. There's something that you are accepting. There's something that you are accepting from the past. And there's some kind of like lessons learned or like energy that gets updated or energy that gets shifted within the body and the mind as we release and accept the past. She wants to talk about this. There's something, again, she's taking me back to innovative ways of sustainable energy. She's telling me that's this energy here with the Ace of Earth as well. We're going to see a lot of agriculture changes. A lot of industries are going to find innovative ways of sustainable energy because we can't sustain our earth the way that we're going to right now. That's also this sunshine frequency. Like, she's very loyal to the earth. She's very loyal of her role, and she's there's some kind of energy that she's like influencing in the industrial agriculture field industries. But anyway, she's saying that that's going to be shifted too. Okay, can we get a last card? Can we get a last card? Okay. Last card. Not cards. Okay, what do we have here? Oh, there she is. Queen of Earth. See, there's a lot of like divine masculine, feminine energies in this reading. You do have here the Queen of Earth. Again with the King of Earth. I feel like this is her frequency. It's her frequency. Masculine and feminine. Okay. The union of the masculine and feminine frequencies within the self. But she's here representing the King and Queen of Earth. She's saying, oh my gosh, she's talking a lot. I'm so grateful. I'm getting so tired. She's saying be the hero of your story. With the hero card that's coming out. She's saying be the hero of your story. Look at this 5 of Wands. So interesting. That's what's happening to the divine masculine energy right now in the corner of the cosmos. There's a lot of energies that are battling. This is like the masculine energies that are fighting against one another, that are, it's like this battle, the divine masculine frequency battled, fighting, dominance, to be more than the other. It's like this challenge frequency that the divine masculine energy have been acquired since their youth, since the young, like to challenge, to fight, to be strong, to, you know, Anyways, I also feel like this is what's happening right now with the divine masculine frequency in the corner of the cosmos. It's like there's a lot of challenges that are being worked through. There are a lot of things that the masculine frequencies are looking at, that are facing, that are fighting, that are working to change. And that's why there's a lot of softer frequencies that are coming through to soften this energy, within the masculine. Okay. I'm sorry, I just have to say like a really funny joke, but Rob, if you're watching, this looks like you with long red hair. But so this is the 9 of fire. It kind of like takes me back to what I was saying with like the seeds of change, the way that she kind of positioned the seeds of change, and how these acorns are encoded with instructions, with DNA instructions, with transformational energies. It's like the iterations of self are almost like constant. I'm just seeing like different iterations of self. Like this is one iteration of self. This is a second iteration of self. This is a third iteration of self. This is like a fourth iteration of self. It's almost like the evolution of yourself, the transformational energies within the self, the acorn that you have planted within yourself. It just keeps transforming and growing and kind of like shifting. It's almost like this shape-shifting energy that just keeps shifting as you shed a new layer. It keeps shifting and evolving as you become a newer version of self. I just seen a newer version of selves here. And then here you have the 3 of Cups. She's really emphasizing here about detaching, because I'm really focused on the ties. Like there's a lot of energies that are wrapped around you here, that you're tied, that you are bound to, but it's almost like you are now like resisting. You're going with the flow. You're no longer attaching yourself with these. You're not tied to anything. Like, see, it even looks like these are ripped. Like they look really what's the word? I don't know. They look ripped. The ends of them, they look like they've been ripped. So it's like you're ripping yourself from attachments. Okay, so she's really emphasizing here about detaching from old emotions. It feels emotional based. And letting your emotions navigate you to newer waters. Oh, this is the energy that she was also showing me. I don't know if I said it, but she was showing me, she's showing me like someone squeezing a towel. And like as you squeeze a towel, little droplets of water fall. And where are they falling? So the towel is like representing of pain, and like she mentioned to me like you're meant to harvest from pain, like harvest the energy from pain, which means like you're transmuting pain into power. So she's showing me this towel, and she's squeezing the towel like this, and little drops of water are coming off the towel, and they are watering the seed that you planted. They're watering this, and harvest is coming from the pain, from the attachments, from the burdens, from your struggles, from your challenges. So it's like you're extracting, there's like wisdom in pain, there's lessons in pain, there's like really, she's saying like there's really powerful energy in pain. And she's like really wanting us to like harness that energy, to squeeze out the lessons, to squeeze out the wisdom, to squeeze out, I don't know what, do you know what I mean? Like, you're squeezing it out. Like pain, the pain is the towel. It's like that dense energy. You know when you wet a towel, it becomes so heavy, and then you squeeze it out, all the water. It's like that water that comes from the pain. There's like a real powerful frequency there. And water is healing. But there's something really magical. There's something within the pain that she wants us to really like hone in on. Anyway, yeah, even this, look. What is this card? 5, 6, 7, 8 of Swords. Look at this person. Pricked themselves with a knife. Oh my Lord. Please, I'm not saying anyone to do that. See, it's like you choose. You choose to stay in victim consciousness or to learn. To stay in victim consciousness, to continue to feel the pain, to continue to repeat painful patterns, to stay in victim consciousness, or to choose to turn the knife upside down and hold it on the other end and learn and receive the clarity. See, she's saying there's something that we need to learn from the pain. There's something that we need to learn from the pain. Because there's a lot of this energy of like, woe is me. A lot of it, woe is me. She's saying if you were in that energy of, oh, this hurts so much, oh my God, this was painful, not to sound insensitive or not to seem like you should not have gone through those emotions, because those emotions are 100%, 10,000% valid for you to feel, for you to experience. But she's saying that to continue to put yourself through the wheel of experiencing that pain over and over and over and over again, you're going to get stuck. 8 of Swords, you're going to get stuck feeling that pain time and time again. You're going to continue to hurt yourself time and time again. So choose. Do you want to rise above the pain, or do you want to stay in the pain? That's what she's saying. And that's what her date is here to help you with. Okay? Okay? Okay. I'm done. I'm done. I hope that this resonated. I hope that it helps. This was a real tough one for me to do. I didn't want to do it. I literally almost threw out the whole series and I wanted to give up. This was a very challenging message for me. I knew what the message was for like a month, and I didn't want to read it. I didn't want to channel it. I didn't want to be the one to speak on it. And I hope that I did the energy of this reading justice, and I hope that I did her justice, and for God Enlil as well. The one that's in the corner of the cosmos right now. All right, I hope this resonated. I love you guys. Until next time.